The seventh thing, which is related to it, is you got to understand systems versus people. We manage as if people are our problem. They said DeMarco and Lister said that back in 1987 with the book Peopleware. It hasn't changed. It probably was the same before, and it hasn't changed much since. My good friend W. Edward Deming, who I love dearly, he says that in his experience, most of the problems that we find in companies, and he was a statistician, so he doesn't throw these numbers around lightly, he says 94% of the problems belong to the system. And only 6% are special. What is he saying? He's saying 94% are system problems, not people problems. You don't have as many people problems as you think you do. Bad systems can make bad people. I believe this to be true. You can look at some of the financial services company. I won't name them because I might have to work for them someday, but they've paid billions and billions of fines for what? Because people in their system have done bad things. Do you think they're bad people? I don't think they're bad people. I think they're good people in a bad system, a system with bad incentives. But what do most managers do? And again, I'll use this pejoratively. Most managers think it's a people problem. Let's just fix the people. No, managers should fix the system. In fact, leaders understand this, and that's what leaders do, is leaders take care of the system. There's a variation of this rule. This is called the 94-6 rule. There's a variation called 94-6-99. Even though 6% of the problems are people problems, 99% of the time we treat them as if they are people problems. This itself is a problem. The vast majority of the problems that you have in your organization will be system problems. They will be systemic in nature, and a lot of them will have to do with the incentives built into the system. What is incentivized gets done. Management/leadership owns the system under which people work. It's imperative that they understand not only that they work under a system, because some don't seem to understand it, and that they own it. And that if you are going to change the outcomes and the outputs of the system, you have to change the system. Don't expect your people to do it. Your people will work within whatever system you give them, good or bad. Number 8. A lot of folks in software development don't seem to know this. They act like they don't know it. I think they do know it. It's called the 10X rule. The 10X rule is that people in knowledge work can do much more in terms of productivity. And I'm going to define productivity as value over time. People in knowledge work can be much more productive than they can in the physical world in terms of the differences among people. Again, if I have somebody digging ditches, and then I take the best ditch digger in the world, how much better is the best ditch digger than the average? I would guess maybe 10%, 20%, 40% would be way out there. Yet, the best software developers and the best knowledge workers are much more productive than the average and the least. Here's a quote from everybody's favorite Steve Jobs. 2 to 1 is a big dynamic range for most things in life. I think he talks about cab drivers. I think he said your best cab driver is not going to get you there half the time, even though they're the best. Now in software, the difference between the average software developer and the best is 50 to 1, maybe even 100 to 1. He's a little bit, I think he's a little bit excited about that, and he probably went a little bit too far. But he's directionally correct. Bill Gates puts it a different way. I put these two together because I think they know a little bit about software development. A lathe operator, somebody who does physical work, might command several times the wages of an average lathe operator, but a great writer of software code is worth 10,000 times the price of an average software writer. So he's not talking about productivity, he's talking about value here. There's a gentleman named Joel Spassky who writes a blog called Joel on Software. He says that the best software developers are infinitely better than the least, because the best software developers can do things that the least will never be able to do. And this is kind of what Bill Gates is saying here. Do you think that Bill Gates paid his best software developers 10,000 times more than his average or his least? Probably not. And the software developers don't even care. If you paid them 50% more, they'd probably be extremely happy. but they'd be even happier if you just got out of their way and let them code most of the time. Find the best people, understand that the best people exist, understand that some people are going to be many times better than others, and learn how to create an environment within which they can flourish. If you put a 10x person in a 1x environment, what do you think you're going to get? I think you're going to get 1x. And you're going to get one pretty pissed off 10x person. And they're going to go somewhere else. That's what I think. And so we treat everybody the same. And I think there's a problem with treating everybody the same when people aren't the same. And I think we need to create environments within which our best software developers can actually flourish. And the best way they flourish is to get out of the way and let them do their job, which we don't do a good job of. We manage them when we should lead them. So I said that Steve Jobs was probably a little bit exaggerating or just a little bit excited about this. They've done numerous studies on developer productivity. And this is where the 10x rule comes to us from a gentleman named Steve McConnell. He did a meta study of all the other studies, and he said the average has been found to be around 10 times.